This is Mitch, and welcome to the 1000houses.com podcast. I'm here today with Bob Lachance, and he specializes in help finding you the exact correct VA help that you need. He's a pro. He's been around for a long time. He's also, and one thing I like, he's a ex-professional athlete, and I always like those guys because they have this kind of competitive spirit and this drive that you can always kind of count on. I like that about athletes, or say like ex-Marines or black ops guys or whatever. Like you're not gonna shut them down. They might hit a roadblock, but they're gonna find a way around it. So that's what I like about that. Tell us a little bit more about yourself. I know you've done a lot of things, and I don't want to list the things that are superfluous. So tell us about some of your background and how you got here.
Yeah, absolutely. So before I jumped into the virtual assistant business, like you said at the beginning, I played professional hockey for 8 years, 4 years here in the United States, 4 years in Europe. And then after that, I left school. I forgot to say this because I think this is important. I left school one class or two classes short from getting my degree. So that was a pivotal moment. So 8 years after that, I either had a decision to go back to school or jump into an industry that did not have not too high barriers of entry. So I decided not to go back to school and then jump into real estate investing. So this was 2004, did my first flip. And then I started a couple of real estate education programs throughout the years. 2006 on the short sale world, we did over 1,000 short sale transactions. Then in 2000, towards the end of 2007, I helped start a company called Fortune Builders with a couple of our buddies here in Connecticut, and those they moved out back to San Diego because they're from California. And my other business partner stayed out here. Our main job was to set up the coaching program, run all the coaches, and build from within. So we built that and we grew that. It's very successful. Within that process, there's one glaring need that one of the things I've always noticed is a lot of students either work part-time or full-time. And there's something that's missing, which is a lack of time. And I was always looking for that one product or one service out there, for about 10 years or probably about, to be exact, about 7 years. And I finally found it in virtual assistants. So once I realized what a virtual assistant was in 2013, a light bulb went on. I'm like, you know what? There's a business out there, and this is exactly what our students need. So,
well, it's not just for real estate either. I mean, you could just be a successful household that needs a virtual assistant. Like
100%.
Research this for me. Find out where this way. Where's the closest theater to me? I need you to book tickets, for the show. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
you could go cross grain for things like that and tasks that you need help with. 100%. So
yeah, I don't think anybody who's a mover and a shaker, and certainly an entrepreneur, general problem with entrepreneurs, and I think you'll agree, they're generally overloaded.
I mean, we that's self-sabotaging too, because we add one thing, we add another. That's exactly what we do to ourselves, but it's just part of the game. So, so I started my first company in 2014. And then I also today I use my virtual assistants in my own business. We did over 150 transactions last year. It's pretty cool. We're up here in Connecticut. We do different types of real estate investing, whether it's wholesaling, wholetailing, mostly a lot of the wholesaling, fix and flip, but we do stuff nationally. We're actually reining that back in and bringing it back in our own market and going deeper rather than wider.
I like that because there's different cultures everywhere you go, and different city ordinances and all kinds of things. And when you start getting further and further out, you just start bumping into problems that you weren't even know where to look for because you never seen it before, but you're in a different county or a different state, and it's different. So,
yep.
So we're going to talk about VAs. And by the way, the link is going to be 1000houses.com/VA help. That's VA for virtual assistant and the word help. No spaces, just 1000houses.com/VA help. Anything we talk about on here, any websites, any opportunities, any giveaway, and we're going to have a giveaway here. But we're going to be talking about where to start with a VA or how to find that right person for the VA, because that's what Bob and his company specialize in, is helping you find that exact right person. Now, you could go out there and place ads and do stuff if you want to, but here's the two choices. You hire a professional company like Bob's, or you go out and you train people and then they quit, and then you got to retrain, and it's just a lot of energy, man, a ton of energy. So there's a choice there, So tell us about how real estate investors are let's start from the beginning. How are they finding the right person for them?
It's interesting. Like you said, just to reiterate that you could go on your own, right? Go do yourself. You could post ads, you could run interviews, you could do all the pre-screening, making sure they have the right hardware on their laptop, make sure they have backup. You could do all of that 100%. My first virtual assistant that I had back in 2013, it took me a long time only to do exactly what you just said, Mitch. I spent about a month finding them. And then at the end of week one, they all of a sudden left. And I'm like, oh, and I had to rinse and repeat. And then that was part of the reason why we started my company right now, is because of that pain that I felt. So you could do that. Anyone could do that. There's some sites out there, you could Google it, or there's companies like myself, the one that I own, that you could get to, by the link that you just gave, which is under 1000houses.com/VA help. And we do all of it. We recruit, we source, we train, and we pre-screen. We do predictive index. We do disc profiling as well. So if you go to us and you say, hey, this is the type of disc profile or the type of predictive index that I want in the makeup of the virtual assistant, we will match that perfect virtual assistant with exactly what you need in your business. So we really take care of the majority of the heavy lifting. And then let's
talk about that choice. Let's talk about that choice. And to do that, and I haven't talked to you about this, but I'm sure you don't, well, doesn't matter. It's about transparency, right? So I'm going to hit you with some really hard questions, but really to me, the difference is, because I've had to make the choice, the difference is I'm paying this much an hour, or I'm going to pay this much an hour, but where's my time worth? So let's talk about the disparity in the two prices. If you go on your own, what could you save? But then there's a lot in that.
Yep.
You can talk about your savings if you go do it on your own. Number one is, are you any good at it? And that'll show up if you have to keep hiring people over and over again. And then number two, what are you worth per hour? I mean, if you're a professional at finding houses, and let's say the lowest house makes $15,000 or $20,000, what are you trying to save a few dollars an hour for? Mm-hmm. I mean, one house extra, instead of doing that and doing what you're supposed to do, pays for years and years and years of difference in this price. You know what I mean? If not a decade.
And that separates the successful individuals from the non-successful individuals. And this is what I found through, since starting real estate, and you and I were talking a little bit about this, but if you spend time doing $10 an hour tasks, it's going to equate to a $10 an hour bank account, right? That's typically how that works. So if you're looking at the price of something and the cost of something rather than the investment, it's typically you're looking to bargain shop, and you're going to get, you'll get a bargain, but you're also going to get the quality of that bargain. That's what I realized throughout this business, especially in the virtual assistant world.
And generally, if we're talking traditional shopping, you've wasted all this time and all this fuel and all this wear and tear on your vehicle. I mean, you're not adding up everything it cost you generally.
Exactly. So that's the way I look at it. And like we said, just to step back, you could find your own, you could get them anywhere. There's a mix of them. I mean, some people claim you could get them anywhere from $3 to whatever dollars, but you're going to get that quality. I've tried every $3 an hour VA, Mitch, and it's not worked once.
I can tell you why.
Yeah.
The minute they get a $50 bump, they're gone.
That's exactly right.
Or $1. You know what I mean? Someone offers them $4, you're out the window.
That's exactly right.
Or since they're only making $3, they feel undervalued. So they got 2 other people they're working for on the side that you don't know about, that's paying them maybe 3 or 4 each. So now they're making, then they're double billing hours and stuff. So you can get into that game if you want.
Yeah. And it's going to be a really bad time suck for you as an entrepreneur, because our jobs are money producing activities as an entrepreneur. So let's have our VAs stick to admin stuff, phone work, text messaging, transaction coordinating. There's a whole laundry list of tasks that you need to offload off your plate and give to your virtual assistant.
So this is a perfect segue. So the giveaway today is 100 tasks that your VA can do for you. Just to plant in your head, to get your mind rolling on what all they can do. Instead of saving you, we're going to save you the drain bramage. Okay. Go ahead and just get the list, and then that'll get your juices flowing. You can probably add to that list once you plug it into your own personal system. But it's 1000houses.com/VA help. Just go over there. And by the way, that's gets you over into the show notes. So again, anything we talk about on this podcast is going to be over in those show notes. So how to get a hold of Bob Lachance will be over there. How to get a hold of his company, whatever he's got to offer, it will be over there. So that's the conclusion I came to. I've seen people do it over and over again. And I said, you can go try to save a couple bucks an hour, or you can get on with what makes you the money, which is buying houses or finding houses at discount prices. I mean, if you're saving a couple bucks an hour and you miss a house that can make you 20 grand, you're not ahead at all. You're like behind. If you could actually see it on a chart while it was happening in real time, you'd throw up.
That is exactly right. Oh, spoken like a true veteran right there, Mitch. I mean, that's exactly how I look at the same thing.
Well, it's no secret. I have to make every mistake before I figure it out. And I have made every mistake. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I won't say that, because as soon as I say that, I'll find another mistake I haven't made yet and I'll make it. So I'm just going to say I'm a pro at learning by my mistakes.
That's right.
So tell us what your organization looks like. I mean, do you go to the Philippines? Do you meet with people? Do you have an office in the Philippines? Tell us what a VA company like yours looks like.
So we do have an office in the Philippines, but we're also a work from home type structured company. Like I said, I started my first company in 2014. Right now we're at over 800 virtual assistants nationwide. That's made up of both the real estate virtual assistants, and we have property managers, we have real estate agents, we have investors. We have any type of investor, wholesalers, lease option, rent-own, whatever type of investor that you want or that you could think of, we have as clients. And we also have a medical division side that we run, like doctors' offices and hospitals and things like that. So,
but I'm saying no matter what business you're in,
that's right.
I mean, call Bob, get a hold of Bob, and tell him what you're looking for. Now, a lot of people think VAs from the Philippines, what could they possibly know? Let me tell you. Right now, a decent, not even hardly minimum wage for us. They're running hospital floors. They're store managers. You know what I mean? So if you pay minimum wage here, which is what is minimum wage now? I don't even know.
It keeps going up every day. Connecticut just raised theirs. I know California. I think California could be at $15. I could be wrong, but literally I could Google it.
Okay, so you pay $15. Let's just say in the United States, you're going to get the bottom of the bottom of the bottom of the barrel. Yep. Okay, you pay $12 or whatever in the Philippines, and I'm not setting your price. I'm not saying, but I'm saying you can pay substantially less per hour, which is thousands of dollars per year, depending on how many you have. Could be tens of thousands a year, and you're getting a much higher quality person.
Yeah, 4-year college degree. So all of our virtual assistants, 4-year college degree. They have background in majority of them have background in call center experience, et cetera. So you're already having that experience that you need typically for the tasks that you're trying to outsource. So that's a very important point there, Mitch. I'm glad you brought that up.
And I have learned these people from the Philippines, they've opened up a middle income class from these jobs. You know what? You were poor, you were rich. But the internet has set these people up to have a middle class or to start building a middle class. And they're very used to, they're opposite hours of us, right? Almost like directly opposite. Like
that's exactly right. So it's their graveyard shift for us.
Yeah,
so
but they are used to working the graveyard shift. Yeah. I was concerned about one that I called. I said, so what kind of hours do we got to work so, you'll have a real life and everything? And without question, the 5 that I asked that question to all said the same thing. Yeah. I'm here to work when you want me to work. Yeah. They know where their value is.
And Mitch, they're huge on family there. And the traffic, I don't know if you've ever been there, but the traffic is like New York City and Los Angeles put together. It's just chaos. So for them to go a mile down the street, it's going to take them 2 hours as an example. So it's very, very difficult for them to get anywhere because it's a very populated country. Especially in the bigger cities like Manila and down south and Cebu and things like that.
Yeah, so they're used to working from home. They're used to working from their laptops. Mm-hmm. They're used to working the night shift. I find surprisingly enough, if this is a requirement, they can speak as good English as anybody on the planet, just about. You know what I mean?
English is one of their first languages. So, and a lot of people don't know that.
They share in the American holidays. The other thing I love about my VAs, I can give them their base, but I can bonus them or give them a commission when something goes right that doesn't have to break my bank. I mean, 50, $100, $200 goes a long ways.
Huge, huge.
I always wanted to, I want to ask you this question.
Yep.
My biggest fear is that I would like to, if I just paid the person $500, it would be way less than I would have paid anybody else. But sometimes I'm afraid to give the VA $500 because I'm afraid I'll give them so much money they'll just quit.
No. Don't do that. I mean, don't think like that, because for me personally, on all of our deals closed, we bonus them pretty substantially. So, 100, and it's in everyone's definition of substantially is different. If you're going to get a $30,000 profit, give them $300, 20,000, give them 200, 10,000, give them 100. Like, all that goes a long way. And if you think about this, if you have 10 closings with the same virtual assistant that drove you the same lead, that money adds up big time, and they will not go anywhere.
Yeah. Now you got to remember, VAs that are making what we call minimum wage around here, they got servants.
Yep.
Because the servants in the VA are working for $1.50 an hour or $2 an hour. You know what I mean? Like, those low level workers aren't getting paid hardly anything in the VA. So, I wanted to ask you about that. Is it possible just to overpay them too much? So, like, you don't want to give them too much, because you could, if you paid the commissions that you pay here in the United States to them, they can live for 2 years off of that.
Yeah, I mean, so you have to give reasonable. Like, the way I look at it, you give reasonable. So for me, just give, if you look at that percent,
about 10%.
Yep, you look at that percentage.
And then the other thing is, come Christmas or Thanksgiving, Christmas is always a big one. Give you $100. Thanksgiving, give you $50. That probably takes care of their whole meal for their whole extended family, and more. Oh, yeah. So it's very easy to be good to them.
And I think that's important though, Mitch. It's make them part of your team. It's just, I know it's a virtual assistant that's not sitting in your office, but it's very important to make sure that you make them part of your team. But, get them into all of your daily huddles. If you have huddles, if you have team meetings, include them, because it doesn't matter if think about this, Mitch, if you and I are working and you're in Texas, I'm in Connecticut, and we don't have those huddles, there's a disconnect, right? Even though we're working together or partnering with each other, whatever it is, there's going to be a disconnect if we don't touch base on a daily basis. Same concept, right? It's virtual. This is a virtual. Now we're in a virtual world. COVID's actually done some very incredible things for allowing individuals to feel confident and comfortable to work with a virtual employee, virtual assistant, or however you want to coin it. Even
in the same city, we're working virtually. Yep. So let me put in perspective what Bob was just saying and how we're dealing with it. One is, our salespeople and our acquisition people, they don't need to have an office to come to, because it really doesn't change anything they do. And they all are getting paid upon success. So they have to work to get paid. So I really don't have to ride shotgun over them. But the reason why we have offices for them in an office is so that there's a camaraderie and there's an environment where they're having interaction with each other and with us and our staff, so that we start to bond and start to build a culture. What happens if everyone just works from home? There is no culture. And it's kind of like, I don't know, not getting any love or affection. You just kind of drift off because there's no interaction besides the job that you do. And the prospects that you're talking to can't give you what you need. You need something from the other side, from the guy who just did 3 houses. Hey man, what am I doing wrong? Because I had the same amount of calls you did and I didn't close but half. Like, what's going on? Like, how can you help me close my deals better? They need something from the other side. And the same with the VAs. We found if we don't meet with the VAs once a week and then have some homework for them to do to turn in on another day for the week, we're going to listen to a couple of your recordings of your calls to see if we can up your game, see if we can all get better. We have to involve them about once a week, or they'll have a tendency to drift off. They'll get lonely out there. Their imagination will start running.
Yeah, feedback for anybody in this world. Doesn't matter if you're in sports or in business, it doesn't matter. Feedback leads to motivation, leads to production. So that's the very important part to look at, no matter what industry you're in. It could be, like I said, sports, could be business, whatever it is. It's coaching kids. It's the whole 9 yards. That's how that cycle goes, right?
So we talked to a person who had a VA that had quit. I mean, no, that was doing really good for this company. And we asked him, he says, we're not going to try to scrape your VA from you, but can we talk to him? We want to hear from a VA themselves. Why, what's important to them from a Filipino VA? And we talked to this guy, and what he said was, he wants to feel valued. He wants, and this was one of the most important, he wants to feel like he's going to have his job for a long time, that he's not just here for a month or two or a quarter or whatever, and then you let him go. He's trying to not worry about where he's going to have to find his next job. Long-term
security is what they like.
That's the word.
Yeah, that's why for us, our in our business, that's what we offer. We offer that for our virtual assistants. So, we continue to market consistently. Our VAs stay with our clients the longest in the industry, which is a very good kind of mark for our company. Very, very good. So that's one of the things we pride ourselves on.
Yes. So they want stability, long-term security. And that's number one. And they also want to feel valued, and they want to be communicated with. Those were the three things they said. They're very loyal people, as far as I could tell in my limited amount. They don't want to hop around. They don't, I mean, we can't generalize everybody, but for the most part, it seems like they would want what anybody would want, the same thing. So I saw a very interesting concept, which got me all reinvigorated about VAs. I was talking to a guy who does a lot of houses. And he does them. He's a virtual flipper. Okay. Yep. He had two screens behind his head, behind his desk. And there was a VA on one and there was a VA on the other, and they were muted, but they were on the phone with their headset and they were talking. You could just see their lips moving all the time. And then every now and then, while I was talking to this guy on Zoom, they would punch in and go, "Hey, we have a hot one. They're on the line right now. Let me give you can you talk to him?" And he would say, "Yes, I can talk to him." And she said, "Let me give you the rundown real quick." And she went through her little microform and read their answers.
Yeah. Live transfer, right? Live transfer.
And they transferred to the guy which is really smart, because half the problem is getting back to your prospects. They don't recognize your phone number. They're not answering, they don't know who's calling them. And so they solved the problem by just, when the VA had someone hot, they just turned them over to the acquisition man now while they're on the phone. And I thought, that's brilliant. And so these people, they're working because they have the same hours that he had. He had 9 to 7 or whatever it was he worked. And they were there. They showed up the same time. They said, "Good morning. How was your day?" They got that sense of belonging built into it, And I thought, now the only problem with that for me is I'm not going to an office and sitting there from whenever to whenever. I'm not. Now, if you could find a way to put this monitor in my truck, maybe I would do it, but that probably wouldn't be safe.